Welcome to Fill the Void podcast, where we discuss unhealthy human habits caused by the society of consumption. Hi, Camila. How are you?
Hi, Babita. I'm doing very well. How are you?
Very good. First of all, I want to thank you for participating in this episode of Fill the Void podcast. I'm really excited. Camila Bronson is a psychologist and a health and wellness coach, and she's passionate about mental health, creating wellness spaces to help others express and heal themselves. She's an expert in ketamine treatments and has much experience with psychedelics as well. Can you start by telling our listeners a bit about your background and what inspired you to become a psychologist and embrace this path of health and wellness?
Yes, I think trauma. Trauma got me exploring all that side.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I've been always very interested in how the mind works. And, I'm a Scorpio and I'm all about the big questions, the exploring consciousness thing. So I've always been drawn to read about it, and then I enter college. I've been studying psychology for the past 10 years more or less. I started studying in Brazil and I finally graduated with my certificate, my bachelor here in the US.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but in the meantime I've always been reading, trying things on myself too. My path of healing and the things that I learned in education, everything like draw me into this path. Like I always been obsessed with like self-development and yoga and like why I'm here in this world. The big questions. What
Yeah,
is
I
the
know.
purpose of life and all
I
those
know about
things.
those questions. I'm also a Scorpio and I have the same questions always. And it's like existentialism that's heavy sometimes.
Yes, yes. And as a Scorpio, although like I'm a very scientific person, I love horoscope. I love about astrology. I think it makes so much sense as a Scorpio, like the purpose of a Scorpio in the world. Uh, and I've experienced, the dark side of Scorpio and the bright side of Scorpio. So I do relate so much. My rising is also Scorpio, very Scorpio.
Very. I'm also Moon Scorpio. So funny.
Oh.
Yeah. And can you tell me about this dark side of Scorpio, like that you've experienced throughout your life? When did it start? Like, how did it start? It
Hmm.
was when you were in Brazil, or
Yeah. So I never saw myself fitting. That's funny. Since I was little, I've been a very anxious since I was a kid too. And I felt myself different than other people in a way that I couldn't conform as others. I didn't do well in groups. I had my own ideas. I've always been questioning things, and I've been my small town where I'm from in Brazil is like very religious. I went to a nun school, and I was the terror for them.
yeah, yeah,
I was always questioning things and like religion and why is this like this and why is this like that. And they were like, I don't like this girl. I'm gonna persecute her. So like I felt persecuted a lot in my life. I was the girl that people would invent rumors about in school,
hmm
and people started like not liking me. And I suffered creating friendships for a long time too. And I did have like some traumatic event happen to me when I was a teenager. And that really like draw me into the dark side of Scorpio.
hmm
So, I went up and down and I was, filling the void with all kinds of things,
yeah,
numbing myself with, all the things, drugs and parties and sex and meaningless consumption. And I was afraid of for a long time to seek help because where I was, I didn't feel like people would get me. And
yeah,
I it took me a long time to find people that could really help me in my path of healing. But I'm so grateful that I did and I kept going at it.
hmm
I would say that my lowest point in depression was 2021. and I was very like, my life is over. Like, I don't I don't need to be here anymore.
Mhm.
Um, but I was like at this breaking point, you know?
Yeah.
So and up until that point, I haven't tried like any prescription medicine for like mental illnesses. And I was very skeptical about it, but as, you know, a psychologist, researcher, I've read about a lot of different kinds of medicines. So I went to a psychiatrist with an idea of what I wanted already. And she was like, "Yeah, I think that's going to work." So I found like the right combo for me.
Mhm.
And then I found like about ketamine treatments as well. And that was like expedited healing. It was like I was able to break out from those negative patterns, all the trauma that has been with me for so long.
Yeah.
All those things that I will tell myself and the way that I hated myself, those negative thoughts that would contain me and stop me from fulfilling my full potential.
Yeah. It's so important to talk about these things and shine light because I feel so many people go through these things. Even myself, when you
Mhm.
talk, I've been through a really similar story as well. And there's so much stigma around these topics, and people
Mhm.
are afraid of even expressing these things out loud. Even it
Yeah.
happened to me. But yeah, this it's like you're trapped in a cycle that goes on, and it's really difficult to get out.
Yes.
Um, and for me, it was like a couple of years of my life.
Mhm.
And it's so important to mention to people that like it's you don't have to give up. You have to keep on going because
Yes.
someday you will find the
Yeah.
way to get out and to break those patterns.
Yes.
So talking about focusing on the ketamine treatments, how and also psychedelics, like this is a field that's gaining attention
Yes.
for its potential therapeutic purposes. So can you
Mhm.
explain how this treatment works and what was your experience? Like what conditions they are commonly used to address?
Mhm. Yeah, so psychedelics is a big field, right? And there is a lot of research now on several substances. There is MDMA and psilocybin, ayahuasca, and even LSD. In the past, we had a lot of
Mhm.
research. And ketamine is a bit different than those. It acts differently. And for myself, ketamine was the thing that really worked because the other psychedelics give me paranoia and more anxiety and
Mhm.
are more intense, like with things that come up. So I didn't have a good experience sometimes with those other psychedelics. And I was, I was telling this story on my Instagram account the other day. Like I've been anxious since I was a kid, and I especially had this health anxiety.
Yeah.
So I've been thinking about death all my life. I'm gonna die. This thing's gonna make me die. And I was afraid of my body reactions to things. And I
Yeah.
was thinking, like, I would take LSD and have paranoia and see horrible images and think about death and I'm dying and I'm having a heart attack. And like, I know that a lot of people suffer from that.
Yeah, exactly.
And ketamine was able to delete all those thoughts. I could just feel pure bliss. Like the first time I used, it was like a break in my brain. So that was really different from all the other psychedelics that I tried. And the way it works, ketamine, it acts like in neural growth.
Yeah.
It actually stimulates neuroplasticity and repairs those synapses that are like broken in your brain, that they're like stuck in those patterns of depression and anxiety. So you're finally able to repair and kind of create new pathways in your brain and actually think different thoughts, because this is hard. I did talk therapy for many years, and I believe that talk therapy can help you to a point, right? But you cannot talk yourself out of some things. You can learn mechanisms, you can learn how to listen, how to have a conversation, how to relate to other people. but there are things that you cannot control in your mind.
Exactly.
There are thought patterns, also those thoughts that just pop in your mind, the intrusive thoughts, very common in anxious people. I suffer with that a lot. So those things, it doesn't matter how much you rationalize and tell yourself, it doesn't nothing works. Like talk
Yeah.
doesn't work. It's deeper than that. And that's where psychedelic treatments come. And I think, it's I hope it goes really mainstream because it has such a potential for
Yeah.
healing our society, and it's expedited so much healing in a couple sessions.
Yeah. That's why it's
Um,
so important to talk about it because exactly
yes,
this point. Yeah. And what is the most, or did you have significant breakthroughs or like really important insights that you observed in your journey with this psychedelics or ketamine?
absolutely, absolutely. Ketamine made me like so open to act on my creativity. It organized my thoughts in a way, and it made me believe in myself. It
Mm-hmm.
also healed my relationship with my body. I used to fear my body with anxiety because my body was betraying me. My body was giving me these sensations that I couldn't control.
So important.
Yes. And now I feel like, I'm so blessed to have this body. Like my thoughts are totally different now. If you talked to me like 2 years ago, I was a totally different person. I was very negative, hopeless, and I had this very negative view of, how things are going
Mm-hmm.
in the world with
Yeah.
people. I had no trust in people. I had really had no hope for society, for humanity. And
Yeah. I
uh,
relate with that too. I have a little bit of a pessimistic view
yes,
on the world as well.
yes, yes. Everything changed to me. Like my thoughts that I thought were impossible, like I was very sure of myself that things are like this,
Mm-hmm.
they're not gonna change, and that's it. And we're
Yeah.
gonna die. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I couldn't see also like my purpose in the world. And now I see a very not super clear path because I think a lot will happen on the way. I have like a goal, right? But I think things are gonna unravel as I go. And I fully trust that things are gonna work now. Like I fully trust. Like I don't
Yes.
need to worry about. I know it's gonna happen.
Yeah, and if you trust it, that's all it takes. You're manifesting that energy and it will
Yes.
happen. Yeah.
Yes.
And what advice would you give to someone who is interested in exploring all these holistic approaches?
I would say never do this by yourself if you don't have any experience with it. Look for a therapeutic environment. It's very different doing those kinds of drugs in parties and in a therapeutic environment. It's very important to set intentions, to do integration, to journal about, what happened in the session, to really take those insights and then act on them because that's how you change things. So yeah, I just think it's not a good idea to just do in your own, and
Yeah.
sometimes you can get some content that you may not be able to process yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very important to work with someone.
Yeah. And can you provide some tips or strategies for our listeners to maintain good mental health in their daily lives if they don't have access to these specialized treatments as therapy, for example?
Yes, of course. I think one of the things that make most difference is how you take care of your body. Self destruction is such a thing from the past. It used to be cool. I'm cool. I party. I drink a lot. I
Yes. Yeah.
smoke, and it's like it's not that cool. Your body is your temple. Like you should take
Exactly.
really good care of it. Especially, don't even get me started on healthcare in the U.S. Like take care of your body so you don't get sick, right? And you have the energy to do things. So taking care of your body
Yes.
with good food and exercise is like primordial. Um Try to grow some plants at your house. That's so important.
Yeah.
Even in a
That's a good
small apartment.
advice.
Yeah. Try to dab in a bit of like producing some of your food. Like I have herbs and some veggies here in my apartment. So it's
Mm-hmm.
so nice to have this contact. So, and go in nature, like it's free,
Yeah.
right?
That's the key in life, in my opinion. Like going out on nature, it's free and
Yes.
it revitalizes you in every sense.
And exercise is free too. Like you don't need
Completely.
to go anywhere to do exercise. You just need your body. You don't even need anything else. Like,
Yeah.
dance, like move your body. Our body
Mm-hmm.
is made to move and not just
Exactly.
sit in a chair all day.
Yeah. And so important also, like the nutrition, like you said, our bodies are temple and taking care of that with what we put inside, you
Yes.
know. But yeah, exactly. When we are in these like dark times, it's like we just fill ourselves with
Mhm.
poison.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then of course our brain is not even going to function correctly. Everything is going to take us to the dark side because we
Yes.
don't see the light. Exactly. So also, as someone who is deeply involved in the field of mental health, what do you believe society can do to reduce the stigma around all the mental health issues and promote health and well-being? Because we live in a world that promotes the
Hmm.
opposite, in my opinion, in some way.
Yeah, I think self reliance is a thing that I believe deeply. Don't wait for the government or institutions to take care of you. We have to be the actor of our lives. And I don't know if this is a good advice, but there's, I, this is a funny story. Like, me and my husband, we are kind of like preppers in a way,
Hmm.
in the way that we do have a lot of hope for things to be great, but also we prepare for the worst.
I like that
So,
advice.
yeah. So, yeah, I think, really, really being independent, but having a community to take care of you in a small scale is the way to go. In community can heal. We need to invest in like community healing.
Hmm.
There is this place in Brooklyn called Brooklyn Psychedelic Society. They're doing exactly that. And I want more initiatives like this to exist in the world.
Yeah,
And, I want to be one of those people that will be doing that too. So I'll do my
completely.
part to kind of put this out in the world so people can start healing.
And as you've mentioned, your passion for mental health and creating wellness spaces, could you share how you got started in this field? And I want you to tell us more about what are you working on right now? What drives your passion and what's your mission for the world?
Yeah. So, like I say, as a Scorpio, I've always been interested in those things, in the deep questions, in knowing myself and knowing why I'm here. And I've always struggled a bit of finding my purpose, but since I was a teenager, I always wanted to have a wellness space, like a
Yeah.
place where I can live the way that I want to. I don't subscribe to society, how people live these days. Like I don't want to accumulate a lot of capital and
Mm-hmm.
buy a ton of things that don't make me happy. I want to be close to nature. I want to have a small community around me that support each other. So what I'm working right now is this is my life project. This is like my contribution to the world, and I'm not even sure how that's going to look in the future, but the project is called Eco House Living.
Yeah.
It's in the first steps. It's, still being developed. So basically, me and my partner, we're buying like 70 acres of land in Brazil.
Where exactly in Brazil?
Yes, I'm from Santa Catarina in Brazil. It's a state on south, and it's a beautiful state with very diverse nature. The town I'm from is like coastal.
Mm-hmm.
This place where we buying land is about an hour and a half from Florianopolis, which is the capital.
Yeah.
Um, the place we're buying is not close to the beach, but it's kind of mountainous, and it has a river. So there's so many natural resources around there, and that's what I want, like I want to be
Yeah.
closer to the essentials that I need to live. I want to like consume less and produce more.
Yes.
My husband also, he's a he hasn't practiced yet, but he's studying permaculture, and we
Mm-hmm.
want to kind of use the land like that, like producing food and all using the permaculture principles, which is very low maintenance and very kind for the environment. And this place is, I think initially we're going to build a few cabins for rentals, and
Mm-hmm.
we want to build a wellness space to host retreats and do all kinds of healing, receive facilitators from all around the world to do their
Yeah.
there.
Sounds
Um,
incredible. So interesting. I will
yes,
be there. I will be there definitely.
yes, yes. So I want a haven for like personal transformation and also psychedelic healing. I'm very
Mm-hmm.
interested in grow this field in Brazil and living authentically. Like I want to be able to like not be attached to a 9 to 5 job. Like I want
Yes,
to, have a place where a few people that I love live around me and we can do things together.
exactly.
And Brazil is such an amazing country in the way that it's not polluted yet by so many
Industries.
touristy industry. Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's not like so commercialized yet,
Mm-hmm.
commodified. So there, and also the nature there and the land there is fertile. You can, really live from the land easily.
And
Like
that's
it
so
has beautiful
important.
weather. Yeah.
Right now with all the processed foods, it's so important to be able to be connected and grounded to real soil,
Yes, exactly.
right?
So, yeah, there's an abundance of natural resources. There is universal healthcare in Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to immigrate. So, like, I want to build this haven and I want all my friends to come and live with me pretty much. That's like the final goal, like I want to live life in my terms.
This
And
is an incredible project.
yeah, I want to not be dependent on like government and like I don't even want to accumulate a lot of things. Everything that we produce there, we want to reinvest in the place and
Yeah.
build our, our little society community there. Other things that I think about is like how everyone can share their expertise with each other because we're not able to do everything alone. So sharing of resources is so important and also be of service and just sharing like your talents with other people.
Yeah.
It can be so strong like that.
Yeah. You want to also like, you want to reconnect to our primal state of being humans, which has been lost for so many years because we're
Yes.
literally trapped in the system as there's
Yeah.
no other system. But also a question that I have is like, how are you able to live outside the system? You are trying to create this for your life, for yourself, and be in service and service this for other people to be able to experience it as well. And is that going to be like a challenge, or do you think it's going to flow and it's easy to be able to just exit the system in a way?
It's a
Or
good
in a
question.
way you're going to be connected still to the system in some little parts?
Yeah. I think it's impossible to be totally disconnected, but there's like ways of participating, I guess, in the system that are better than others. We're probably still gonna need money for things,
Exactly.
unfortunately. Although, like I say, we are expecting the best and preparing for the worst. I think at some point money couldn't even be useful if you don't have the natural resources, right? Like you can't buy fertile land where there's no more.
Exactly.
United States it is bare in many areas because it's not good areas to grow food.
Yeah.
And no matter how much money you have, like if you don't have the essentials, you're I mean, billionaires are gonna find a way, but like people, normal people will
Yeah.
what are they gonna do? They're not gonna be able to afford. So yeah, on a way, we will have to be, participating in society,
Yeah.
but as removed as possible and also like trying to share this alternative way of living to other
Mhm.
people that it's possible. And also like a little bit of a parenthesis here with
Mhm.
technology. that I think it's like there is a bad side and a good side. If there wasn't technology, I would never have met you probably,
Exactly.
I would never have connected to so many amazing people with the same values and goals as me. There is the bad side, like the comparing, the unrealistic standards,
Exactly.
how you yeah, it's very bad for mental health if you're not in a good place. It
We
doesn't
are always
affect me.
we're always comparing ourselves with the whole world. Before,
Yeah.
people used to compare themselves with like their neighborhood friends or their like
Yes.
community, just small communities. And now we're every day comparing ourselves with the whole world. It's like impossible.
Yeah.
We're all, of course, we're gonna be frustrated.
Mhm. Yeah. It doesn't affect me anymore, because, like, I'm in a different place, in mentally, but I know for a lot of people how detrimental it can be,
Yeah.
and I think that the best we can do is work on, just working on ourselves and bettering ourselves and achieving higher levels of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
I've been thinking about a lot about the Richard Barrett 7 levels of consciousness. Like, you have to search about it. It's such insightful thing to think about because I feel like as a society we are stuck in like levels 1, 2, 3, and those levels I have here.
Yeah.
Those levels are like first level is surviving, second
Yes.
level conforming, third
Mm-hmm.
level differentiating. Like, we're stuck in there. And that's why we have, all this comparison, all this division, all like this hate, polarity. And I feel like I'm already like integrating all that and seeing below the surface. Like, I'm observing the duality and I'm like, what you guys are doing there? Like, let's just unite. Everybody wants the same. Everybody wants to be happy.
Exactly.
Like, why were we on war? Why we're fighting?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just want people to take a look back and look at all that and see how much bullshit it is.
Exactly.
And it's like, we're all here for the same purpose, which is enjoy life.
Exactly. Why do we make it difficult for ourselves so
Yeah.
much?
Yes. Yes.
And when do you foresee that you're gonna start being able to develop this project, or when do you foresee it's gonna be functioning?
Hmm. Yeah, so I believe next year we're gonna be building the first cabins, and I don't know where we're gonna. We need to design all that. It's all
Mm-hmm.
very initial steps, and we have to plan like how we're gonna do all the water sourcing and how like all those systems are going to work, and there's no sewage systems, and we have to think about like how we're going to do all those things. It's not so glamorous, that side.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take a while, but
The
I
engineering part.
the what?
The engineering part.
Oh yes, that's
Yeah.
still not fun for me.
Yeah.
I like to pitch the ideas, and I'm not an execution person. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I like to envision, and I want other people to help me do the rest
Yeah, I
because
feel
it's
you.
not
I
good.
feel you.
Yeah. So yeah, we hope that some of the cabins will be ready next year, and then we're gonna start planning like the wellness center. And of course, it start like planting things. Whenever we visit Brazil, we're gonna stay over there and developing. And at some point, we want to be full time there. I don't know when that's gonna be. And yeah, meanwhile, I'm looking for other people that are interested in the idea because I don't want to build this alone.
This
Like,
is incredible. This is an incredible project, in my opinion. It's gonna be amazing.
yeah, yeah. I know that I just trust that everything is gonna flow and the right people are gonna come around, and we're gonna build something beautiful together.
Exactly. And so, to finalize this incredible conversation, what's your view on the world, where we are heading, everything that's happening right now? How are you dealing with everything? And how you said we prepare for the worst.
Yes.
But what's your view on our society, on us humans?
Yeah. So I I have two views, or, everything is going to be all right or everything's going to go to shit. I'm prepared for both.
Mm-hmm.
So on the good side will be psychedelic healing of the world, like healing of trauma, of collective trauma, of generational trauma.
Yeah,
The psychedelics becoming more mainstream is going to be key to achieve that. I don't think there's a way we can talk it out things. Like we need deep healing. Like we
totally.
have so much trauma in
Totally.
society, all the past things. And this is like my hopeful way to say things. If things go to shit, if everything gets crazy expensive and global chains get like
Mm-hmm.
um
Technology takes over.
yes, the AI.
Yeah,
Yeah, like I just want to be able to have my little haven where I can just like disconnect from all the craziness, you know? So
yeah, yeah.
so I'm prepared for anything.
It's incredible. I love your view.
Yeah.
Count me in. Count me in your
Yes.
project.
Yes. What I was going to say, I forgot it, but yeah, pretty much that's it. Yeah. I don't take sides on most things, and
Yeah.
I don't see things as black and white. So I kind of like I'm the observer of duality. So like I can see how things can go one way or another. I can
Mm-hmm.
understand like the views of one side or another. And
Yeah.
for the good or the bad, I will find a way to prevail.
Incredible. I love it. I love it. So thank you so much, Camila, for this
Thank you,
incredible talks.
Babita. It was incredible to spend some time with you.
No, it was incredible, and thank you for shining light on all these topics that really need to be brought to light.
Yeah.
And count me on your project.
Yes.
Anyone that's interested, please reach out to Camila. And thank you again.